Good afternoon and welcome to today's session of Imagine America Radio, our continuing Career College Exposition webinar series. My name is Bob Martin. I'm the President and CEO of the Imagine America Foundation. Joining me on today's session of Imagine America is my foundation colleague, Lee Doubleday. Lee and I are extremely excited about today's topic, STEM careers in the transportation industry with Universal Technical Institute, or UTI. UTI is this country's premier provider of high-quality, career-focused education at 12 locations nationwide. UTI is also a 20-year sponsor of the Imagine America Scholarship and Award programs, having provided admissions-based financial aid to more than 15,000 enrolling Imagine America students. Without taking valuable time from our presenter, let me refer any and all inquiries about the Imagine America Foundation to our website, www.imagine-america.org.
Since our beginning in 1999, Imagine America remains a leading sponsor of scholarship aid to enrolling high school students. However, our country faces a serious shortage in certified technicians. We hear from employers in virtually all sections of the country, desperately looking for qualified employees, so we need to do more. Our partner in today's presentation is Universal Technical Institute, and joining us today to discuss in detail the looming technician shortage and how UTI is helping meet this need is Dr. Stephen Coyle. Dr. Coyle is a nationally recognized expert in this area with an extensive K-12 background.
Before turning the program over to Dr. Coyle, let me very briefly outline today's agenda. Today's session of Imagine America Radio will be 30 minutes maximum, including questions and answers. Once we finish these remarks, we move directly into today's presentation. All participants can submit questions while the presentation is in session via the Q&A in the Zoom meeting. At the end of the presentation, or approximately 2:25, we'll then present any questions offered by the participants. We will address as many questions as possible and provide written responses in follow-up emails. We'll have a hard close at 2:30 p.m. So without taking any more time out of today's presentation, let me turn today's session over to Dr. Coyle. Dr. Coyle, the floor is yours.
Well, thank you, Bob and Lee, and thank you everyone for joining us this afternoon. I'll get right into the agenda today. It's threefold. The first part will be challenges facing the workforce. The second part will be opportunities in the transportation industry. And then finally, we'll finish up with Universal Technical Institute's career pathways. I always like starting off with the changing workforce because it's changed dramatically from the 20th century to the 21st century. In the 20th century, we were very much an agricultural manufacturing economy with some service in there as well. As you can see in the 21st century, we are very much service oriented. That shouldn't be a surprise to you. If you own a house, you own a car and a washing machine, doesn't matter. You know how difficult it is to find people to service your equipment, let alone someone who is certified. You also might look at agriculture and say, wow, what's happened? We dropped from 41% to 2%. Are we starving? And no, quite the contrary. We actually feed more people with 2% than we do with 41% due to technology. But that ties into service because once again, the technology is only as good as people that we have to serve it. A recent study was done with 150,000 students from grades 6 through 12, and these students were asked, how many of you would like a skilled trades career? As you can see, about 3% said, yeah, this is what I want to do. This is what I aspire for a career. The same group then was asked, how many of you are interested in a STEM career? And over 45% said, yes, that's what I'm looking for. Then you can see there lies the disconnect. Students do not see the connection between STEM and skilled trades. Unfortunately, we have educators out there who also don't see that connection. They tend to think of STEM as white collar. In reality, it is all collar. It's not just white collar. It's not just blue collar. It's all collars if there's other collars out there. And so STEM really does permeate our economy, and it also permeates our workforce. STEM career growth has been phenomenal and will continue to be so. Between 2007 and 2017 and 2027, it's predicted STEM jobs will grow by over 13%. Personally, I think that's a low estimate. I think it will be more than that, but that's where we have a little over 13%. All other jobs will grow about 9%. But the significant difference is when you start looking at earnings potential. Hourly median earnings for a non-STEM career, just over $19 an hour, which is still not bad. But with a STEM career, almost $39 an hour. And you can amplify that more when you look at yearly earnings. You look at non-STEM, a little over $38,000. STEM, almost $87,000. And then you compound that by, a career of 15, 20, 25, 30, maybe 35 years. And you can see there's a significant amount of earning potential there of STEM versus non-STEM. Now, please understand, I'm not saying that you have to pick a STEM career in order to make a lot of money. There are well-paying non-STEM careers out there too. It's just they're not as plentiful as the STEM careers. About a fifth of the jobs that are in this country today require a bachelor's degree for entry, only about 20%. But the more startling statistic, in my opinion, is that almost half of the college grads we have walking around today either are in a career where they didn't need the bachelor's degree, or they're in a career where they're not using it. Either way, it's a sad loss because of all the time, the energy, the money that they've invested. That's why it's so important that we start with students early about career readiness and career pathways. I talk a lot to educators across the country about the old SMART versus the new SMART. So you say, well, what is the old SMART? Very simple. You get into the best school you possibly can. Doesn't matter. You get the best school out there, whatever it is, you get into the best school you possibly can find. And then once you get there, figure out what it is you're going to do. And you might laugh at that. You say, well, don't most people know what they want to do before they go to college? They think they do, but many change their major. I know I changed my major 3 times before I settled in with education. And many of you have probably done the same thing too. So once they figure out what it is that they want to do, if they figure that out, then they walk out the front door, degree in hand, go, here I am, world, hire me. And we know today that just does not work any longer. It's just not an efficient education process. You might even look at that and laugh and say, oh gosh, Steve, you just made all this up. Well, I would refer you to the recent admissions scandal that just took place and is still going on, where parents tried to buy their sons and daughters' ways into schools like Stanford and USC, the prestigious schools, so they could get their education from there, thinking it would be worth more. But what they get for their efforts, they got jail time and fines. And what's ironic is that in several of the cases, the students didn't even want to go to college in the first place. So there was just a lot of waste there that took place. So it is real. So then we jump to the new SMART. What's the biggest difference between the old SMART and the new SMART? The student. That's what we need to be focusing on, is the student themselves. What do they want to do? I ask educators this all the time. What's the one question we ask every little kid? What do you want to be when you grow up? Why do we stop asking that question just because they get into the middle school age or even high school? We need to keep asking that question. What do you want to be when you grow up? And so we focus on what are they good at? What do they love to do? Then we'll focus on what kind of a program do they need to foster this. So do they need a bachelor's degree? Maybe, maybe not. Do they need a master's degree? Maybe. It could be. But they also may just need competency-based credentials, an internship, an associate's degree, something like that. So there's many different pathways that we follow. And it's up to us as educators to help students to find that. And then in the end, we'll find out what school they want. So you see, we do just the opposite. In the old SMART, we find the school first. In the new SMART, we focus on the student and we find the school last. Is there really a reason for a student that wants to be a welder to go to the University of Houston or to go to University of Texas? Not really. They could find a better pathway in another type of school. The rule of 1-2-7. I love talking about this. It's very simple, but it's also very true. If you add 1, 2, and 7 together, you get 10. So for every 10 careers that are out there today, right now, only one requires an advanced degree, meaning a master's degree or higher. Only 2 of the 10 careers available today require a bachelor's degree. As I said earlier, about 20% of the jobs require a bachelor's degree for entry level. 7 of the 10 careers only require a certificate or diploma, meaning competency-based credentials or an associate's degree. 7 out of 10. Yet, we are pushing students into colleges and universities to get a bachelor's degree at almost a 70% clip. So you see, what we're doing is exactly the opposite of what the economy is dictating that we should be doing. And that is why we have the skilled trade shortage that we have today. I educate educators. It's what I do. It's what I'm doing right now with you all. And you as educators, you educate parents and students. I know parents, that's a tough nut to crack. Those guys they're tough because they're still thinking of the old smart, the best school out there, provided it's close by and cheap. But, it's up to us to educate parents and students and help them understand that skilled trades and STEM are one and the same, and that there are good STEM careers out there that do not require going to college. There are some STEM careers that do require going to college, but it's up to us to offer that guidance in career readiness and career pathways. We also have to kill this myth of university for all. It's just not applicable anymore. Not every one of your students is going to want to go to college. Some are going to want to go a different pathway. So it's up to us as educators to help those students find those pathways. And then finally, let's remember, what are employers looking for in the first place? I mean, why are we getting this education? So these students can move into a career. So we have to remember, what are the employers looking for? They're looking for competency-based credentials. What do you bring to the table that's going to benefit them? The second part of our agenda today is opportunities in the transportation industry. I don't care if you're talking about a car, a truck, a boat, a motorcycle, an ATV. I don't care. Whatever it is, it's a rolling or floating computer. Just simply put, the technology in these vehicles today is mind-boggling. Many people look at these, and I do that a little bit too. I look at all these, like, wow, this is really cool stuff that can do, all the different technologies that are available out there, and we all want those. But when I think of the technology, what I think about is safety. Let's take, for instance, the backup camera. We kind of take it for granted now because so many vehicles now have them. But we've all heard the horror stories of someone backing over a child, sometimes their own child, because they didn't know they were behind them. How horrific is that? But with the backup cameras, we virtually eliminated that. Another great example is the blind spot indicators. We've all been honked at. We start to pull over the lane and somebody lays on their horn at us, and then can't understand why we didn't see them. Well, they were in our blind spot. But with blind spot indicators, that's not a problem any longer, because with sensors, we know what's going on around us. So it doesn't matter. All these technologies, they're important, but they also save lives. So they're important for that aspect. The biggest problem is, who's going to work on this stuff? We have to have technicians that can work on these things. I read an article not too long ago about, they're having trouble in the agricultural industry trying to get farmers to buy the new equipment because they can't work on it. And they know they can't. But what they're concerned about is, can they find anybody to work on it? So they're looking for older equipment. Well, that's terrible, because this new equipment will make their lives easier. It will provide more yield, per acre of their crops. I mean, all kinds of advantages are there. But if they don't use it, they won't see those. So once again, another reason why we need technicians. There are over 1.3 billion vehicles on the road worldwide. Over 273 million of those right here in the United States. It's projected that by 2028, there will be 1.1 million technician jobs available. It's just amazing to think about that number. The third part of our agenda today then is Universal Technical Institute's career pathways. As Bob and Lee mentioned at the beginning, who is UTI? We are the leading provider of technicians in the transportation industry. We have 12 campuses nationwide. We place over 4 out of 5 of our graduates into their chosen field. And notice how I said chosen field. That's important because we want students to realize their dream. We want them to get into what they want to do. Just getting a job somewhere doesn't count. We want them into a career that's going to last them. And then we have over 220,000 graduates in our now 56-year history. We offer 8 different training programs: auto, diesel, collision, motorcycle, marine, NASCAR, CNC, and welding. You can't just come to UTI. You have to be invited. And how does that happen? It happens through a personal interview with the student and their parents. We want to see if UTI is a good fit for them and if they are a good fit for us. So we go through this interview process. We want to find out, what do they want to be when they grow up? What's important to them? What do they love doing? And then we explore these different career pathways. But what you don't see here are the hundreds of other career pathways embedded in these 8. For instance, we get a student that they love cars. They love to be around cars, but they really don't want to turn wrenches. They want to do something else. They could be a service writer. That's the person you see when you first go into the dealership that takes your keys and asks you questions about your car and gets all your information so they know who to get that car, which technician to get that car to. Or the insurance industry. They love our graduates because, if they want to be a claims adjuster. When you hit a deer, yeah, it's pretty easy to see all the things that happen on the outside of the car, but what about all the inside damage, all the sensors, all those things that were damaged as well? A trained technician is going to be necessary to know that those things are there. So that would be another avenue for you. So there are literally hundreds of different avenues that you could follow. Industry-aligned technology, what does that mean? It means that we align what we do to the industry. Before the pandemic, we were doing online and hands-on. Granted, we're doing a little bit differently now because of the pandemic, but still we were. The reason why we want to align ourselves with the dealerships that are out there. We want our students prepared. So when they go into that dealership, they know what to expect. So we do part of our training online, and then we do part of it hands-on. The best way to learn it is by doing it. And so we practice that very much. But, you think about with dealerships, they're short on technicians to begin with. They can't afford to send technicians off for training. So they do it online. So by us doing that while they're getting their training at UTI, then they go into that dealership prepared. They know what to expect. And then our education model is very simple. We teach competency-based credentials. We teach one course at a time for 3 weeks. Then we build on that for another course and another course. And this is how we build our technician from the ground up. As I mentioned before, because of the pandemic, we've had to make some changes to be CDC compliant. So what have we done? Well, we have assigned doors where students and people can enter and leave. We do temperature checks of everyone that enters the building. We require face coverings. We've reduced lab sizes. Why? To meet the 6-foot separation, the social distancing that CDC recommends. So we had to lower the numbers to make that happen. We require students and staff to wash their hands often. We clean and disinfect the facilities constantly. And then we offer phone support for those that are still kind of leery about wanting to come in. They're still worried about the virus. And so we offer phone support for those people so they can get their questions answered. We're an essential industry. We didn't go away because of the pandemic. In fact, the demand became greater. And so, in the past, we've always done, in-person presentations, but we had to change that because many school districts shut down. So we had to go to a virtual platform. So we use Zoom, we use Microsoft Teams. We can also use your platform if you have one in particular that you want us to use. But what we do is we offer, as my colleague Jerry Elner says, a buffet of opportunities for students and for educators too. And these are designed to help keep students engaged. As you can see on the right, you can see some of the slides from our presentations we do. We do career pathways workshops, we do STEM workshops, we do tours. We do a lot of different things virtually so that we can meet the needs of schools. And these are designed for all of your students, not just for the ones that are thinking about, auto or diesel. This is for all of your students because this workshop will benefit any student thinking about a post-secondary education of some type. Our national presence is important for 2 reasons. Number one, you'd be hard-pressed to go into a dealership and they wouldn't know who UTI is. So by being known nationally, that's a huge advantage for the second part, which is getting placed in careers. And because we have the nationwide presence, we can help a student that maybe went to school at our Houston campus or our Dallas campus, and then they want to move to Arizona. They want to move up north to Chicago. We have UTIs there too, so we can help students to get placed into their careers in different places. The industry relationships set us apart from all other schools. We have over 35 industry relationships. These are the big dogs of the industry. As I often say, we're not preparing students for Jiffy Lube. We're preparing students for BMW, for Honda, for Yamaha, for GM, all these different types of companies. And this number keeps growing. Just a few weeks ago, we signed our first manufacturer alliance with the agriculture industry, AGCO. So we're very excited about that. So this continues to grow their relationships. And of course, the benefit to them is they get great quality technicians to help them to do their jobs. One of the things that we're very proud of is our TRIP employment program. I don't know about you, but we have a difficulty getting students to fill out scholarships. And so we had to find other ways to help students to make education more affordable. And the TRIP program, Tuition Reimbursement Incentive Program, seems to be the answer. And what I decided to do for this spring was to give you a couple of examples of TRIP packages that we have. The first one is with the Hendrick Advantage. Hendrick is the company itself has 100 dealers representing 29 brands, currently operating in 13 states, 10,000 plus employees. The package, tuition reimbursement, $300 a month on top of their salary. They can use that towards their student loans. A tool voucher, $200 a month for 10 months. That's $2,000 towards tools. Relocation, available on a case-by-case basis. As I heard a service manager say once, hey, we're not going to lose a quality student over a couple $1,000s. We will help them however they need so we can get them here. ASC reimbursement and paid factory training. And then finally, a comprehensive benefits package to help students. Then we have the Penske Auto Group. This is another example. Over 150 US locations, over 40 world-class brands, a Fortune 500 company. What is the package? Tuition reimbursement, $420 per month. That's on top of their salary now for 48 months. Wow, that take care of your student loans in a hurry. Tool program, $2,000 reimbursement. 10-year bonus, $3,000 bonus paid after 48 months of employment. I've got some statistics for you here that I'd like to read. Right now we have 4,763 participating employer locations. The average trip package is almost $14,000. The average tool package, almost $3,000. The average relocation, almost $2,000. Average sign-on bonus, over $3,000. Average retention bonus, over $4,000. So you can see this gives our graduates a huge advantage to make their education more affordable. Now, there is a catch. The student has to earn these. The company is just going to give these to anybody. They're looking for the top quality students, the students that are come to class every day on time, show great professionalism, work hard while they're in class. That's the employees that they want for the future. So they're willing to invest time and money into these, into our graduates for that. We love to use our past graduates to motivate and inspire our future students. We have them come to our future student workshops and events like that because we want them to see and hear what it's like at UTI and what the rewards are for it. They're going to listen to their peers more than they are other people. So that's what we try to do is show our future students what's ahead for them. We are Title IV funded, so we do require the FAFSA to see if they qualify for financial aid. And we have over $15 million in scholarships. We have housing grants. We have institutional grants, the TRIP employer package I talked to you about, and then third-party programs to help cover emergency expenses. I'm a retired educator. I know exactly what you all do on a daily basis, although I can't say this year so much because it has been a different year. But we want to partner with you. We want to help you any way we possibly can. And so, we know the difficulties in keeping students engaged and coming up with new activities. So we want to help you with that. Everything we offer is complimentary. So please reach out to me and I can help make that happen for you. We are on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat, Instagram, YouTube, and of course, our website, uti.edu. I'd just like to close here with talking about parents, because I get that question all the time. Give me some help on how I can deal with parents. Well, first of all, promote your STEM programs. Many of you I talk to, and I'll say, what are you doing with STEM? Say, oh, we do a little bit. Then after talking to them for 5 or 10 minutes, find out they do a lot. So show it off and have open houses for parents so they can come experience it. Don't just show them, have them do something. Do a welding simulation, do something, to get them involved. Involve industry. They'd love to help you. That's what we do. So that's what you need to do too. They would love to help because they're going to need future employees. Career pathways exploration days. I always tell educators, get rid of the term college fair. It just limits students' thinking. All they're thinking about is, okay, University of Houston, University of Texas, Texas Tech. That's all they're thinking about, right? We want them to think about all post-secondary options. So call it Career Pathways Exploration Days. And then finally, celebrate all of your student successes, because every parent wants to see their child succeed and to be recognized for their successes. So make sure that you make a point to do that. Not just the kid that got the full ride football scholarship. Let's celebrate all the student successes. And then finally, this is my contact information. This is my phone, it's my email address. I'd welcome your comments or questions. Please reach out to me. Thank you so much for spending some time with me this afternoon, and good luck with the rest of your school year.
All right, thanks, Dr. Coyle. We are now going to open this up for the Q&A portion of our presentation. So if you do have a question, please feel free to type it in the Q&A or the chat feature. I'm also going to throw up a poll question for you. If you would like us to send you an email with more information on any upcoming events for your seniors, please indicate so in the poll so that we know who to reach out to. The first question for you, Dr. Coyle, comes in. It's about housing. Is housing something that is offered at the Houston campus? Let's say, for instance, I have students in New Mexico or outside the state. Are you able to accommodate those students?
Definitely, we are. We offer housing. They are not dorms. They are apartments that we lease. We help with pairing up students, for roommates, that kind of thing. And then, as I mentioned earlier, we also offer housing grants to help students to make housing more affordable too.
All right, great. The second question, this person wants to know about GPA or SAT score requirements. Now, I heard you mention in the presentation that, you want to meet with the student, make sure they're a good fit for the school, and then, it's a good fit for them. But are there any ACT, SAT, GPA requirements?
No, there are not. We do not have GPA requirements. We do not. Of course, we want students to do well in school, but we don't have that requirement. We also don't require ACT or SAT scores. A lot of the admissions is based on that personal interview with the student and their family to find it, because we're interested more in their work ethic, their attendance, their professionalism, those kind of things. That's what we're looking for.
Hey, Stephen, the next question has to do with programmatic and cost comparisons with community college programs. Would you like to talk a little bit about that, please?
Yes, I get that question a lot. Oh, you're just like the community college. No, we're not. There's several differences. One is the manufacturer-specific training. Most community colleges do not offer that, or they might offer a small amount, but we offer a large amount. But time spent. At UTI, you're going to be there about a year. At the community college, you're going to be there 2 to 3 years. As far as the trip employer package, that makes school very, very affordable for our students. I mean, a good student can virtually go to school free, if they're willing to put in the time and the effort to make that happen. But the trip employers are huge. And then, of course, the national recognition, because a community college, you're going to be known right in that area. UTI, you're going to be known nationwide.
So, Stephen, would it be fair to say if any of the participants on this call has a very highly motivated student, one very focused, knows what they want to do, know that is a technology or automotive career, that wants to get out and do it quicker, UTI is a good option?
Well, yeah, it is. I mean, you're right. If a student is focused, they know what they want to do. If a student is just looking for a general type of education, community college might be the best way for them to go. But if they know what they want to do, they want to go to work for BMW, they want to go to work for GM or Porsche or companies like that, then UTI is the place for them.
Well, before we close, let me go through a few housekeeping issues. First of all, the Imagine America Foundation has recorded this session and will be forwarding it to all the registrants. The foundation will be placing this session on our website, www.imagine-america.org, with specific download instructions. Next, we're going to be sending out a follow-up survey for everyone in this meeting. We'd ask that you would consider answering all 4 questions. This will help us to determine possible next topics and locations. Before closing, I'd like to thank the participants for taking time out of their very busy schedule. We know you got a lot of demands and it's a very taxing, trying environment. We appreciate you carving out a little bit of time for us today. I'd also like to thank Dr. Coyle for sharing today's presentation and encourage each and every one of you to contact him directly if you have any questions about this presentation, UTI, or STEM careers. On behalf of the Imagine America Foundation, Dr. Coyle and myself, thank you and goodbye.